Welcome everyone. Let's discuss how we can implement circuit breaker or the fault tolerance in API gateway. Later we will also be implementing the circuit breaker policy in the microservices. Well, there are two scenarios. If you have gone through my videos related to the circuit breaker policy, you already know when we make a call from one service to another service, and if something is failed at the service level, let's say the second service is not responding, then we should have something implemented to handle those scenarios. So that can be done by implementing the circuit breaker or the fault tolerance at microservice level. We can also implement the fault tolerance at gateway level as well. So how can we do that? How can we implement an API gateway? Let's start with that. We already discussed about this website where we got the configuration settings, right? So there we have the quality of service as well. Okay, it's very straightforward. We just have to implement these three things. This is the quality of service options, so we can add exceptions allowed before breaking. So if there is an error occurred three times, okay, it will allow for three times, and this is the threshold we talked about in our lectures, right? So once it crosses the threshold, it will take the break for these milliseconds. So this is 1 second, okay? And this is the timeout value. Timeout value is when you send a request and the service should respond within this time, otherwise it will be timed out. So this information we need to edit. Let's copy this one. One more thing, it needs to be added uh, for each of the routes that we have, okay? Something like this. Let's give the duration as 10 seconds. Let's give the exception allowed before breaking it's 2. Okay, one more changes that we have to do in the program.cs class. We have to add the poly here. Okay, it's not coming because we have to install the package. Okay, so let's go to NuGet. This one, it's a ocelot dot provider dot poly, I guess. Yeah, this one. Let's install this one. It's installed. We have got the option. Let's do this one. Okay, so this is implemented. Let me start the your API first in the debug mode. Okay. Okay, in the controllers, in the product controller, we have this get all. I have, okay, something is not right here. Let's do one thing. Let's return internal server error. Okay, so this is how we are, intentionally sending the 500 internal server error, so we can test it for the number of breaks it works or not. Okay, let's restart the product API in the debug mode. Okay, it's up. Let's start the API gateway. It's running. Let's make a call to this one. Okay, we have got the call. Okay, so one time failure. This is second time failure. Now you see, if I'm pressing for the third time, the request is not going. See, it will take 10 seconds break that we have added. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. I guess that's it. Yeah, again request, we are getting the request. Okay, and if we send it again, it will not send it because it knows that whenever we send a request after after the timeout, it didn't check for the two requests that we mentioned. It checked for one, and if it's failure, then it will stop sending the request to the service. So you already know we have three states: open, closed, and half open. So when we are sending one request after the timeout has completed, it's a half open. We are just sending one request instead of sending two requests. And if it is still failing, then we will again wait for the timeout. So this is how it works. So we have implemented the circuit breaker in the API gateway. Let's implement the circuit breaker policy in the microservice level. Okay, so let's understand with this an example. We have this order API and the product API. In the order API, we are um, calling the product API. We are not calling through the API gateway. We are directly calling it, and we are getting the response from the get all. And the get all, it's sending the request as 500 internal server error, right? So we have something in place to give some time to product API to recover it. So that's we are going to implement in the order API. Let's do it. Let's install the NuGet package first. That's related to the policy extension. So this is the extension we have, microsoft.extensions.http.poly. We install in the order API. Okay, it's done. Now let's add the circuit breaker policy. We'll go to the program.cs class. So here we have to add the configuration in the services. So builder.services dot add http client. We can create a client here. We can give it a name. Let's call it a product API. So what we are gonna do, we can get this client while making the request to product API. So we don't have to create the client multiple times. So here we create only once, and wherever we are using it, we can directly call it. We'll see how it's going to be done. Here we can add the policy handler. Okay, so we can create the extension method. If you see it here, when we create the HTTP client, you see the return type is HTTP client builder. Why we create the extension method? This is because if we create multiple HTTP clients, we would be applying the same setting for all the HTTP clients. So instead of doing that, we can create the extension method. We can add the circuit breaker policy over there, and we can use it whenever we create the HTTP client. So let's create a new class. We can call it configure services. Okay, this is going to be a static class. Now we want to create the extension method. The method would be static. The return type is going to be the client builder, and we call it add circuit breaker policy. Then this dot client, what was the class that we were getting, the return type is client builder. Let's define the same http client builder here. Let's call it a builder. Set the policy handler here. So builder dot and policy handler. Here we can mention the circuit breaker policy. So it's going to be http policy extensions dot transient status code or handle transient error. So in the transient error, we know like it's going to handle the errors that are related to the 500 or 500 plus status codes, 408 status code, and the network failure. But from the product API, we would be sending the status code as 501. Okay, it would still catch it, but if you want to handle particular status code, you can still do it. You can mention the O result here that would filter it. Response dot status code is equal to internal server error. So this is how you can do it, and then we can add the circuit breaker policy here. Yeah, so we have the circuit breaker async method that needs to be called. The first parameter is the handles event allowance before breaking. So number of errors that are allowed, it's going to be 2, and the timeout here would be the 30 seconds. This is how you can do it. You can return this one. Okay. One more thing here, like if you see this one, when we handle the transient error for the 501, we can implement the circuit breaker policy, or we can implement the wait and retry async method. The 501 could occur whenever we are not able to make the connection with the other microservice, or there is a network failure or some error has occurred. So there's a 501. As long as we are getting the 501, we can use the wait and retry async policy. But for now, we are using the circuit breaker async. Let's do one thing. Let's create a method static, and the return type would be async policy tp response message get policy. We are going to put this code inside this method. Later we would be adding more uh, policies, so it will not become messy. So that's where this method would come into the picture, and we can call this. And if you see here in the add policy handler, it takes the argument as, let's call this method. So you see here it's a I async policy HTTP response message. So that's what we are returning here. Get policy. This is it. We are adding the circuit breaker policy. We are checking if it's a transient error, and we are checking for specifically the status code, and we add the circuit breaker policy. If 501 is happening, we will allow for 2 times. If it happens third time, it should wait for the 30 seconds. Let's add this one here. Dot add circuit breaker policy. Okay, so we have added the circuit breaker policy for the HTTP product API. We can also configure the URL, or the address, or the local host uh, for this particular API. So how can we do that? So we can configure the HTTP client here. Okay, and there are few information that can be added. Let's do this one. Client dot base address. Base address is the URL where our application is running. So we have a product service that's going to run on. Go to the properties, launch settings. So this is the host. We can copy and we can paste it here. Sorry, should be in double quotes. We can also define, a lot of settings here. We can define the headers. We can define the uh, request or the accepted headers, like it should be a JSON or something like that. Let's define one more thing. Request header dot accept dot add. So we are adding which media type it's going to accept. So it's automatically showing. So we can define the application JSON. There are other couple of settings we can also mention here. So that's it for it. We have created the client HTTP client product API. Now we are going to use that in the controller. So we have order controller, the constructor here. Okay, and we declare the HTTP client. Let's call it HTTP client. We inject the service HTTP builder. Let's call it HTTP client builder. So here what we can do, we can use the builder dot, sorry, this is not the builder, this is HTTP client factory builder dot create client. So we already have the product API client that we can use. Let's call it a TP client factory. Copy, paste it here. Okay, now we're gonna make the call where a response is equal to await, because we are going to make the call to the other API. It's going to be a sync, call. So we can use the sync here. The return type would change now. It's going to be a task. Okay, where response is equal to the HTTP client dot get a sync. Okay, now we can give the URL here API product and get all. I think that's all we need. Let's see if it works. Let me run the product API first. I'm going to run in the debug mode so we can see whenever we hit the request more than 2 times, does it work or not. Okay, and let's run the product API. Got an error, the service collection cannot be modified because it's read only. Let me check, it's the program.cs, I guess. Yeah. Okay, this is wrong. I have to copy this, paste it here. We cannot modify the builder once we have created the application instance from it. Okay, now we'll make the post request. Executing, this is coming the product. Okay, let's hit it again. It's coming here. Now we are going to hit third time. Let's see it works. See, it's not going here. I'm clicking again and again. It's not going there. It will wait for 30 seconds. So this is how we can implement the circuit breaker policy when we are making the internal calls from one microservice to the another microservices. We can make the same call to the API gateway, and still we can implement the circuit breaker policy. So this is how it can be done in the order API. So here, when we are making a call to the API directly, we can make the call to the API gateway as well, and still we can have the API, the circuit breaker policy implemented in place. So this is how it can be done. We can also use the wait and retry policy. You can make the changes as per your need. So I guess that's it. That's all from my side. If you have any question, again, feel free to ask in the comments. I'll see you in the next video where we will be talking about the distributed transactions. So thank you. Bye bye.